podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the Brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you, you are in the right place at the right time because today's show is about to be a blessing to somebody. And that person just happens to be you. Right now, it's 1:07 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday, February 25th. And I'm recording this in real time, meaning when you receive this is when you're supposed to have it. I need you to pay attention to the ripples and the breadcrumbs. For those who don't know, for those who are new, welcome, boo boo. For those who've been rocking with me, hey, boo boo, we back. Because we ain't never left. How do you say I'm back when you ain't never left? Let's go. I'm spicy today. Uh-huh. I'm spicy today. And I'm coming to you live from Battlecast Studios. Where is Battlecast Studios? I'm glad you asked. Right now, I'm coming to you from a place hidden in plain sight. Look at this, for those who can see. Random. On the top of a mountain, for those who can't see, I'll describe it in a moment. But I'm sitting in front of nature, and behind me is a park, I would say. There are 6 benches, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 1 in the middle, and a place for a bench has been set for a trash can, and I'm behind it. So you can't see the trash behind me. Come on, basement. But you can see the seats that you can sit around me because now this is the boardroom. Battlecat Studios is in the boardroom in the middle of nature, in the middle of this place that's on top of a mountain where I'm the only person here hidden in plain sight. There's an airplane flying over me. I'm sure they're headed to wherever I'm finna go. Wherever we finna go, because we are a family. We are a culture. We are a community. We are a collective. And on today's show, I'm going to prove that by showing you how connected we truly are. If this connects with you, do something with it. Don't leave it here. Because today is the last day of Black History Month on the Three Parallels podcast. Next time you hear from me is going to be March 1st. Come on. We're marching into the new year, meaning 2026, marching into a new life, new wave, marching forth. No pun intended. We're marching forth, okay? March is going to be a special month. I'm telling you now, in real time, and don't get no realer than this, which means you heard this probably within 24 hours of it being recorded. There are no coincidences. Understand, I'm giving you these things intentionally for you to pay attention to what's hidden in plain sight. Because that greatness that you have is already in you. We have to peel back the layers in order for you to get to the heart, to the soul, to the spirit, to the truth, in order for you to live the life that you desire and deserve, becoming him, her, or them. All caps, no blue hat. And I just learned today that I've been playing y'all week. I don't know if you knew this or not. We got merch, baby. We got merch, and it's available for purchase. So you can click the link right now, go down in the description, click the link, check out the merch, and see what we got going for Gator University. I'm not playing. I'm him, and I know it. You see what I'm wearing? You see what you can wear. You see what you now have access to. And the reality is, everybody ain't got access, but you do. Woo! I hope you're ready. I told you we're going on a journey. I don't know where we finna go, but we finna go. And on today's show, I'm just going to allow it to happen organically. And I don't have the time to give you what I really want you to have, but I have the time to give you what I do have at this time. That's a word for somebody. Because the story I want to tell you is a part of me, and it's also a part of them. Them meaning we're closing out Black History Month with the story of the Pact. But before we get to the Pact, I need to make sure you get your merch. Log on, go down to the comment section, click on the merch, check out what you want, spread the love, subscribe, comment, like, and share. I mean this because I found out there's a lot of people listening, but not a lot of people subscribe. So do us both a favor and subscribe today so you can get this love whenever you need it and when you didn't even know you needed it. Because that's what happens to me more often than not with old Uncle Myron. He's right on time. What up, Unc? Hope you're good. So Let's dive into the pact. There are some who know and there are some who do not. I established a pact. I created a pact many moons ago. I was in college at the time, and this is a story for another time because it's not about me right now. I want to highlight my guys. There was a place and space in my life where I left college. I used to say I get kicked out, and I was challenged on that. And now I say I left because that's what I did. I didn't get kicked out. You can't get kicked out of places that you belong. Woo! Hear me, church. Hear me, Gator Nation. Hear me, students of the institution of the Gators. You cannot get kicked out of places that you don't belong. And the person that I was at the time needed to leave school at the time in order to become him. Because the lived experience that I had allowed me to become a version of me I could have never became. Three parallels all day long. So during this season, I was out of school. I was a junior in college, and I'm out of school at the top of my game. One of the greatest alphas to ever live, one of the greatest alphas to ever step through and cross the burning sands of the prestigious Pi Delta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I was the guy. And at the peak of my game, at the peak of my career as a student and one of the best, I chose to leave school in order to pay for school because I wasn't able to afford it anymore. So I left to work in order to come back because I knew at that point college was my way out. This university was my way out the game. It wasn't the military. It wasn't, going to the league. It was education. Education was my way out. And if education is my way out, I can't mess this up. So I'm going to leave, make the money I need to make off campus because I know if I stay here, it's over with. It's over with. I can't do nothing but party, and have a good time. We stay up, we party hard, we stay up late. Most of all, we graduate. And listen, we party hard and stay up late. Okay. I knew what I was going to be doing. God, universe, future self, everybody else knew you don't need to be here doing that. So I left. And now Uncle Greg, who I told you before, Greg gonna come up a lot in these stories that's coming because we're going into a new season. So Greg at the time was in a place and space in his life where he just graduated and he said, "Hey man, uh, you can go home or you can come stay with me." And I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna come stay with you." That's another story for another day. But coming to stay with him meant you finna work, you finna grind, you finna do whatever it is that you need to do in order to become him. Exactly who I am right now. So that's what started it. So on this journey in becoming him, I worked two full-time jobs and a part-time job. And Greg got me those jobs. And one of the full-time jobs that I had was working at a juvenile detention center. And at this detention center, my main responsibility was to make sure the inmates, delinquents, little hymns, just a bunch of little hymns, to make sure they weren't trying to hurt themselves, sleep with each other. We just keeping everything at bay. Make sure nobody killing themselves, pleasuring themselves, whatever. Like we put a stop to all the foolishness. So that was my job. So for 8 hours a day, or 6 out of the 8 hours, I'm walking up and down a hallway, pointing a flashlight in the room to make sure I see skin, make sure nobody escaped as well. And it was a 2 man or 2-person team. One person is walking down, checking each room for an hour. The other person is trying to stay awake. And we go back and forth and we switch every hour. And during that time, this is where I became a master of the game of chess. Not meaning I'm a grandmaster, not meaning I'm on another level, but this is when my game stepped up to the next level, playing chess. Because I learned how to play chess in college because of the fraternity. The guys in my fraternity knew, like, hey man, this is what we do. This right here, this is what we do. So you're gonna learn. So I learned early on, but I really started to play in college, and then I mastered through this experience because for almost a year, playing chess was how I got sharpener. I sharpened my skills, my tools, and now what I experienced then parallels. Playing chess is what I implement in my therapy and coaching and teaching practice. Everything, even with podcasts, everything I do relates to this chess mentality that I got at that time. Because back then, the game of chess was a way for me to stay awake. It was a way for me to stay stimulated because I'm doing the most mundane, boringest task ever. And chess was one way of staying awake. And the reason why I was so adamant about staying awake is because this was my main job and I made the most money here. Majority of the money that I made, I sent right back to the university to get back in. So I couldn't lose this job. The other job, I was doing mailbox, etc., which is now the UPS store and Subway. So I always have an affinity for Subway, always, forever. So Subway workers out there, much love to you, baby. Get it how you live. Get it how you live. And make sure it's 4 tomatoes on that foot long. Stop playing. Okay. You give people 3 tomatoes, they may lose it. That used to be me. I'm not that guy anymore. Another story for another day. Big shout out to the Subway folks, especially those hustling, trying to get to the next level. I survived off cookies and footlongs, which I'm sure you are too. So much love to you at this time. And if anybody's going to Subway for lunch today, tell them I sent you. You ain't get nothing besides what you're gonna get, but just tell them I sent you. I'm preparing for what's yet to come because I'm going to encourage you all to go somewhere and they gonna know you, you gonna know me. You say gator mode, they already know what it is. They're gonna take care of you. It's coming. I want to prepare you now. So if you're going to lunch today, if you going to Subway, you love on them folks. They done been through something. Okay. Speaking from someone who was there. Whew. Another story, another day. Back to where we were going. So the reason I was so terrified to fall asleep because there's another guy, Livelihood was there. He's been there for about 8 years. And, we're trained. You don't fall asleep on the job. Your job is to make sure nobody gets out. And I've had a few escapes during the time I was there. So the awareness was heightened of, hey man, we're not playing. So this guy who's there about 8 years, tenure, he knows everybody, he the man. He falls asleep on the job. They gave him a warning. I was around at the time. He gave him this warning. Warning happened. They say, hey man, you won't thin ice out. Like he just had so many demerits, so many write-ups related to falling asleep. And the coordinator, the warden, at the time decided, hey man, this is my livelihood now. If another inmate escapes again on my watch, it's a problem. You can jeopardize that. Told everybody knew everything. I guess my guy was a narcoleptic, no shade, but he fell asleep again. They came in and fired him on the spot. It shook everybody there because this was a place in space where you get your bread, you can sleep for real. You sleep on your job till till folks start escaping. Where else can you go and sleep and make money in this economy? Man, we were sleeping on the job. You better believe it until we couldn't. So that's when the skill of chess, I became great because uh, my life depended on it. So after he got fired, I didn't play. And when chess was enough, I would then read books, which I never read books growing up. Now, my mom is an avid reader, and she would encourage, we go to the library and different things like that. But I never enjoyed reading. I know now because of my spiciness, I didn't know then. So my ability, and I want to share my truth. This is my basement. I'm sharing it with y'all, but this is that special place in the room where all the magic happens. So for me growing up, this is my truth. My mom didn't find out till I got my PhD. I kid you not. My mom, we would go to the library. We'd go to the library, get a bunch of these books, and take them back home. And I'll be in the kitchen nook. For those who got a nook or grew up with a nook, you know what that is. You don't know, Google it. So I would be in the kitchen nook with all these books, and she would encourage me. I'm being nice. She would encourage me. She would tell me, read all these books. I need a full report. I'm like, all right, cool. Because of my spiciness, my superhuman power and ability, I would skim the books front to back, cover to cover, blah, blah, blah. And I would create stories in my mind based off of all that I read and put things together. And that's how I presented book reports. Never read, skimmed. And my ability impressed my mom. She didn't know I had this skill. She just knew whenever it's a book report, how you know all this about Frederick Douglass, Emmett Smith, Deion said, how you know all this information? Because I always loved learning about sports figures and biographies. That was my thing. Even as a kid, I loved learning about people. And it were stories. People were storytelling. And I enjoyed hearing the stories. So I shared this to allow you to see me and see us. So that skill I had, my mom thought I was always reading all these books. In reality, I had an ability to review and report. And my report was so well, she knew I read the book from cover to cover. Because how else would you know all of these things succinctly? It's because I always been spicy and never knew. And when you spicy, more often than not, you don't even know it. You don't even know it because I ain't know it. And now I do. So for those who are still with me on YouTube, thank you for your patience in my process. Because as you can see, I'm in a whole new studio. Where am I? Battlecat Studios. Where's Battlecat Studios? In my car studio right now, facing a brick wall with a basketball rim on it at a random building in the back where I got a little shade, a little bit of internet, and I can finish this episode. Because where I was, the gardener comes out, the lawn man comes out, and he's blowing all the leaves and the podcast away. He's blowing it all away. And I decided, let me just push pause. Let me reset. Let me get the vibe back right and finish this episode. So thank you for your patience with me. And I love the fact that we could just pivot in real time. A lot of times when I'm doing this podcast, it's wherever I'm at when the spirit hit me, because I'm still developing a system where I know my cadence of when, where, how, why I produce and everything else in between. Big shout out to Maestro, who's able to put all this together to give you life, because that's what this podcast is. So back to this spiciness. Spicy J has entered the building. That spiciness I've always had, I never knew it. Now that I know it, I'm using it to build something, period, point blank. And this story that I'm sharing related to the Pact is part of this spiciness, because I always had it in me and I didn't know it. Now I'm using it to my advantage to help myself and other people, whoever want to be helped. If that's you, welcome. If it ain't, come back later. Because the Pact is about helping. Destination helper. A destination helper is somebody who's been placed in your life path for a season, reason, lifetime, journey, whatever, chapter. And you know it when you meet them, connect with them. So for many of you, it's me. Like, we connected in some capacity, personally, professionally, directly, indirectly, and we family. Like, I know him, I like him, I trust him. If it ain't, it is now. Holla at your boy. Because I enjoy this for me. I can't imagine what you do with it. You don't even know me, for those who don't. And for those who do, you think you really know me. You do. This is me, for real, most of the time. I mean, I am on, but outside of being on, I'm on. I'm him. So this journey, this experience, I'm talking about it, which is my life, which I live, which to me, what other social proof do you need becoming who you're designed to be? So during this time, talking about reading books, told you my journey with my mama, understanding books. Now at this juvenile detention center, I have access to a library of books I've never read, I've never seen. And I'm geeked. Because now I'm in a place of space in my life as a college student where reading now is leisure, because the reading I was doing in school was forced, and none of it made sense. None of it connected with me. So guess what I did in college? The same thing I did in that kitchen nook. Skim, write the report, do the group project, do whatever, and get it done. I've learned more outside of school than in school. That's just me. Can't speak for nobody else. But I love the History Channel. I love PBS. I love documentaries. I love watching people grow, change. That's my job. So everything I do is around people, personally, professionally. That's who I study. That's who I'm looking up. That's who I'm finding out. That's why, if you are really vibing and gelling with this podcast, it's because it connects to you in some capacity. Why? Because you're human. You're a person. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. So my reading journey really ramped up working at this juvenile detention center, because now my life and livelihood depends on it. This brother that was there for 8 years lost his job on the spot because he fell asleep. I couldn't afford to lose my job. So outside the chess, I started reading. Reading is when I became exposed to different PPTs. Those are people, places, and things. So the first book that got me, that really stirred things up with me, was a book of quotes, which I'm actually working on now. That's a breadcrumb. So coming later this year will be a book that I launch, or a book that I put out there, that's full of quotes from different places and spaces of my life. That's motivational. That's inspirational. That helps you. Quotes help me. That book helped me. Now I'm going to create my own. But it started then. And here we are now. And that had to be in 2002, 2003, I would say. So however long ago that book that I read was in me then. Now it's coming out now in 2026. What the hell? I said the same thing. So the first book was a book of quotes. This is gonna hit heavy. In that book of quotes, the first quote that just stood out to me that I wanted to get tatted on my back if I was hood, I would, but I ain't, so I ain't. And it was a quote by Booker T. Washington. For those who don't know, Google it. Google Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington is the founder, developer, creator of Tuskegee Institute, which we now know to be Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama, right next door to Auburn, Alabama, where I am a proud alum. But Tuskegee raised me. Let's go, Skegee! Skegee raised me. They're my people down there. HBCU, for those who don't know, again, do your research. Struggling Black College or University. It's the first one of the first ones that I know of, the person who founded it, Booker T. And that was the quote. That was the person who came up with this quote. And the quote said, and I quote, that success is not to be measured by the position one has reached and in his life, her life, their lives, as by the obstacles one has overcome while trying to succeed. That was it for me. Now, there were hundreds of quotes in this book. None of them stuck, but that one did, all to this day. Because, it stood out to me. It spoke volumes of where I was at the time. Struggling. I'm in the darkness. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm the youngest person working all these jobs. These jobs were people's livelihoods, which means the difference between me and them was the choices that I made. I knew that then. So that quote was all I needed to go to the next place in space. The next book that landed in my lap was a book called The Pact. The story of Ramik Hunt, Samson Davis, and George Jenkins. Excuse me. Ramik Hunt, Samson Davis, George Jenkins. These brothers were in middle school or elementary school, grew up in Newark, New Jersey. And this book I read was their story of how they came from the hood, came from Newark, New Jersey, grew up together around the same place in space, elementary school to middle school. And they decided one day that they made a pact that they were going to become doctors in their field. And they did it. And the book shares their journey of becoming him times 3. And that book changed my whole trajectory of life because it was a moment in time where the stories that they share from how they grew up 10 years prior to me, they was in college about 12 years before I was, and they shared their story. And their story was so similar to my current one, even talking about the music they listened to, hip hop, Biggie, Tupac was live, back then. Um, and they talked about it and meeting some stars and just their journey, and everybody's journey was amazing, and ended up being 2 doctors, medical doctors, and 1 dentist, all 3 doctors. And that book did something to me. It did something to me. And what that something was the idea to establish a pact with a few of my fraternity brothers when I go back to campus. And it may have been before I even got back. I don't remember. But what I do know is I extended an invitation. Hey, man, I'm interested in doing something. And it was 2 guys I talked to, 3 guys total. I have to pay homage to all. So it was a pact of 5 of us. It started with 5. And out of these 5 guys, in my opinion, we all was in school together. We all fraternity brothers. I knew they would be very successful in their life and their journey. I didn't know I would, but I knew they would. So my hope was if I follow their footsteps, if I grab onto their cape, eventually I'm going to be somebody. And that's what I did. So these brothers, Kent Armstead, Kent was the first. I reached out to all these brothers collectively. Taiwo Token, second. Julian McGee, and myself, group of 4. Now I got to share the outcome. I made the offer to them, And the response was, let's go. The outcome was, we're all doctors. That's insane. Um, and when I say all, I'm talking about three, because during our journey together from undergrad to graduate and beyond, uh, if you know the story of my background, my upbringing, military is basically that's where you go when you graduate. When you graduate high school, you go to the military, you go to work, Taco Bell, Arby's, or you work at a factory. That's kind of the top three. If you don't do that, then that's it. That's all of your options. So being from a big military family, they share with me, hey, I know you want to go to the military. Try college first. If it don't work, then go to the military. That's the only reason I went to college, because I was set up to go to the military because I knew I didn't want to work at a factory. Um, I knew I didn't want to work a job, so I was going to go to the military. Fortunately, they steered me into college, and that changed everything. However, that culture is still deep rooted in us as Black folks. So Greg, after he graduated, my uncle, he went to the military as an officer. Kent decided after he graduated, he went and got his master's in English linguistics and started a PhD program, Austin P University, and decided this ain't for me. I'm good. And he left, and guess where he went? To the military as an officer. Taiwo, after graduation, we all graduated from the Dub, University of West Alabama. Big shout out to UW. Ooh, wah. If you know, you know. If you don't, sit down. It's our turn. Dr. Taiwo Togan decided he wanted to do MD PhD, and not from West Alabama to Yale University. What? How you go to Yale from West Alabama? I don't know, but he did it, and he knew he wanted to. So he went to Yale, MD PhD trajectory. Decided to pivot, still got his PhD. So now he's on the AI side and biology and molecular. I don't even know what this stuff is. Smartest brother I know, from Africa, Niger to be exact. And came all the way over here and got all the degrees, all he didn't came and got it all. Last but not least, Dr. Julian McGee, one of my best friends. He decided to go physical therapy. And that's who you know. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the family. He's a member of the Pact. Like, what? This is bananas. I know. I said the same thing. So Dr. McGee decided, I'm going to go get my doctorate in physical therapy. He left West Alabama and went to Alabama State University and got his doctorate in physical therapy. And now he's a professor currently at WashU in St. Louis. Brother Dr. Togan is a school administrator in Connecticut and building an AI school platform that's finna be bananas. This dude's a multimillionaire. Don't tell nobody. Shh. If you listen to the show, shh, be quiet. This brother on his way. Dead serious. And if he got a million, I got some because I'm finna borrow it. What up, bro? What you doing? Let me hold something. I'm good. He good. One of my best friends. And then you have me, the last member, which was Pact 3. I decided after graduating with my bachelor's to go further. Now, my journey was very different and it took a lot longer, but it don't matter how long it takes as long as you get it. So I knew I would become Dr. Branch. I didn't know how, what, when, where. That ain't none of my business. What was my business is I had a goal, I had a vision, I had a mission, and I just kept working towards it until it happened. And once it happened, I'm like, what else can I do? And I did that. What else can I do? And I did that. So now I am the Brother Dr. Jason Branch, and I'm a full-time faculty associate professor, to be exact, at Alliant University in San Diego, California. Virtual, I might add. Private practice, group practice, and now I'm in a pivot growing into this executive performance coaching space. I am officially an executive performance coach. I help people like you become the best version of themselves, 3 parallels, who were, who are becoming, by offering coaching services, individual, group, as needed, coaching program, a full experience, whatever you want, whatever you need, I got it because I'm him and I know it. And now I hope you're noticing all these parallels, all these things that has come together, and now we're sharing our story. And for all of us, I didn't share, which you're going to hear later, but I'm sharing it now because we family, we haven't, so we accomplished the mission, we accomplished the goal. Every graduation we had, we took pictures together to commemorate these moments. Fast forward, we were able to celebrate this moment. And we celebrated this moment in Red Bank, New Jersey, which is where I got my first job after graduating. And it was a restaurant in Red Bank, Temple, to be exact, which was an Asian fusion restaurant. And, years later, after we graduated, we completed the pact. This was actually less than a year later. We completed the pact, and I wanted to celebrate us. So I told them, hey, man, y'all come to Jersey, it's on me. Julian drove from wherever he was, which was a long drive. Tyrell came down, and I set it out for my guys because they are the reason I am him now. So we went to the restaurant, and I told them, have your way, because we're celebrating this accomplishment. We're celebrating this moment, and we celebrated. And it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And we did it. And we've come up with a whole new pact. And this new pact is the pact that we're now going to become millionaires. Yes. First a doctorate, now multi-millionaires. Why not us? Why not now? So this is your challenge. Oh, yeah, I told you every episode you finna get something, your life work, if you decide, is to create a pact between you and somebody, even if it's your ass. First name yo, last name ass. Different versions of you. Set a pact. A pact is we are not going to eat a line of brownies today. We ain't going to do a whole pan of brownies today. We're going to do one brownie and that's it. We're going to do one thing and that's it. Make a pact. We're only going to do one thing. Or make a pact with other people. Let's do this thing. Because to me, there's so much more momentum doing it as a community, as a family, as a group, as a collective, than doing it by yourself. Why do you think there's a Gator University? And Gator University is the university that I founded, that I created, that I started because I was inspired by Booker T. Washington back in 2002, 2003. I knew of him my whole life because of my mama. Now I'm him in 2026, and I got way more resources, support, and great people on my team to build something that's the gift that keeps on giving, that will never die, such as Tuskegee Institute. So if you see me with anything Tuskegee on, repping Tuskegee, this is the why. I'm connected to it culturally, ancestrally. Booker T, my right-hand man. I'm moving on the shoulders of giants that's created things before me. We are now creators in 2026 that's going to open the doors for ways that we could have never done without the people who helped us get here. Them, him, her. I share this story with the expectation that you're going to do something with it. You now know somebody who's done something that's on a whole nother level, and all we need is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan to come get this script so they can make this movie. Michael B. Jordan can play me. I'm cool with it. He played Superman for me, so if he want to play me in the biopic, I'm okay with it. Y'all let him know. He tell his people call me. I ain't got people yet. Tell his people to call me, and we're gonna make something happen, because to me, it's movie worthy. It's movie worthy. Now, to prepare you, because next week, Sunday, March 1st, March 2nd, Sunday, uh, I have the pleasure of introducing you to the Pact. Taiwo Togan, Dr. Taiwo Togan, Dr. Julian McGee, all of us together for the first time in a long time on the podcast. First time ever on the podcast, but us to just get together and share our story, because we lived it. We're kind of beyond that now. And so that story stopped at 2018, but our story continued. Us documenting and sharing our story now is something we've decided that we're going to do, and you happen to be a part of that. And guess what? Those two brothers are also students at Gator University. It does not end. It does not stop. So I hope this was inspirational. I hope this helped you in some way. And just to give you a little more tidbits, few Easter eggs, this pack we had created different things around keeping the momentum, keeping the energy, keeping the vibe. And part of that energy and momentum were things such as, hey man, because I'm a wild boy. I say, hey man, let's get matching tattoos. And they was like, yeah, let's do that. I was the only one that got a tattoo. I say, hey man, let's get license plate on our car. Yeah, let's do that. I was the only one to get license plate on my car. I say, hey man, let's start a whole new universe, Gator Universe. Yeah, man, let's do it. I was the only one to start the universe. But there are members. There are students. So this motivated me. So I got a Pact 3 tattoo on my leg, and I got it the first year that I finished my doctoral studies, because then it was motivation for me. How can I explain a Pact 3 tattoo on my leg and I ain't got no doctorate? Don't make no sense. So me getting a tattoo was like me burning the ships. I'm going to finish this thing because I'm not going to be the laughing stock of tattoos. Not today. Part of why I finished. And what's so amazing, full circle, as these three men, Ramik Hunt, George Jenkins, Samson Davis, these brothers, I had a chance to meet and let them know what they did for me. I poured into them. They poured right back into me. They poured into us. And to this day, we're still connected. And these brothers are doing some big things in their own lane, in their own way. We're all connected in some capacity once you begin to become who you actually are. Three parallels: who we were, who we are, who we're becoming. You get to decide who you are every single day. So next episode, you get to hear from them yourself, because I had a chance to interview and they get to share their side of the story. That is it. That is all. This has been another episode of Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the Brother Dr. Jason Bridge, where we rediscover who we were. We embrace who we are. We make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you, welcome to the show, my friend. This is not even a show. This is now an experience. Season 4, all about experiences. We ain't even there yet, but I'm letting you know now, because everything that I'm doing is an experience. This podcast is an experience. The journal is an experience. Gator U, the webinars, the masterclasses, the retreats, the coaching, all of the stuff that I'm creating and offering is to help you become the best version of you possible. I know it works because I use it every day, and now I'm in a place and space in my life to give it away. If you want some, come get some. This train is riding and it's rolling and it's rocking. You got two choices. You either roll with it or get rolled over. That is it. That is all. Good night. Peace.